Today is the nation's newest national holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and our Walt Grayson takes us to the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum, where the legacy of the movement in our state is documented. Walt?
Yeah, you know, history happens, and after that, then it is reflected upon. And the beginning of that period of reflecting on the historic civil rights movement has a focal point here in Mississippi. It's at the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum.
There is a rotunda, or a central circular gallery in the middle of the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum that all of the other distinct galleries, with their individual slices of time or place and the story of the progression of the civil rights movement in Mississippi, all open from. Usually there's quiet, reflective music playing here. The rotunda has an ethereal feel. And it is not insignificant that the individual galleries feed to and from this one central point. You get to them only through here. To move from one gallery to another, you must pass through this bath of serenity. Going from the gallery about the Jim Crow era, with its roll call of the names of the victims of the lynchings and the conspicuous display of blatant segregation that was Mississippi from the time of Reconstruction, and then moving on to, for instance, the gallery of the turbulent 1960s with the sit-ins and jailings, in between, you always have to come back into the light and peace of the central gallery. Occasionally, one of the anthems of the civil rights movement is interjected into the quiet music, not only just as an audible artifact of the era, but it jolts visitors back to reality for a few minutes. The reality that the relative peace and harmony that we have in society today did not come without a price. And as your eyes drawn upward into the upper reaches of the gallery, you see the faces of some of those who paid dearly for the luxury that we who are here today have of sitting together in that rotunda. Well, just as the rotunda is the focal point of the museum, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is the focal point of the civil rights movement in America. Passing from gallery to gallery in the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum, you see the influence of Dr. King, the faces of people who showed up and stayed when faced with indifference, insults, injury, death, for a goal represented by the central gallery. Peace and rest, the goal that all the other galleries lead to.
I also think, Melanie, that a part of the legacy of Dr. King is that we have a Mississippi Civil Rights Museum.
Indeed we do, and it is spectacular, isn't
Oh, it is, yeah.
It is truly just a gem.
It is a must-see. If you've not been there, you've got to take the kids, take the school group, and go. Or go by yourself.
Really, it is just it's fabulous, and just really, your words just make me tear up. But anyway, it's a beautiful place to visit, and it really gives you a sense of what happened and where we are now and how much still has to be done.